So hi again. If you think you have challenges and it's very difficult to overcome those challenges, well, I'm happy to bring in this series for you where leaders such as Sean Hegarty have overcome their challenges. And if you listen to them, you will realize that your challenge is nothing at all. And more importantly, they'll share with you the insights on how they overcome their challenges. And I'm sure, having had a word with Sean before, he's full of insights, full of useful tips. So looking forward to having a great interview. Sean?
Should be a good one. Thanks, Sachin, for having me here.
Great. So, Sean, let's get started with, the name for your business, which is Jigsaw Digital.
Yeah.
Very interesting and I guess very apt name as well. Do you want to tell us where it comes from and what your business does?
It sort of derives from two reasons. Obviously, digital marketing, it is like a jigsaw. You need all the right pieces together before you start getting a better picture. And I like to think that Jigsaw Digital is the final piece of the marketing puzzle, and it helps businesses improve their presence online. But originally, it's got a bit more of a personal reason. My wife and I have been together 20 years. People have always said we're like a jigsaw piece. We just go so well together. And when I saw the name had come up, I thought that's perfect. It covers a personal reason for me, and it also makes sense from a business point of view.
Wow.
From terms of the digital services that I provide.
So which area of digital marketing you specialize in?
Primarily SEO and Google Ads, PPC, and it's just about helping businesses get a better presence online, whether they're new or established, just working with them so that they get a head start on the competition and hopefully build more sales and inquiries.
So how you or your agency is different to others?
In terms of what I do, I stick to more of a personal touch with my clients, liaising with them regularly. I know when I say regularly, I mean usually every couple of weeks, and keeping up to date with individual reports. The service is bespoke to each client. Digital marketing isn't a one-size-fits-all industry. You need to tailor it to every website and understand their nuances, and that's something which I've been able to do so far really well.
Yeah, of course, and your experience before starting this agency is heavily into SEO and digital as well. So I guess, you're bringing in a lot of your previous experience to help the customers.
This is it. I mean, my background, I've worked in digital marketing for 10 years. So before
Wow.
setting up the agency, I made sure I understood the intricacies, the ins and outs of each type of, I suppose, sector. And then I've moved into bigger websites. I was the senior SEO for AO.com. I've looked after the SEO for a number of other big brands that people will be aware of as well. So I can bring that experience, but without the additional cost that people would expect with that. So they get a really good, valuable service that doesn't really cost too much in terms of what businesses pay out each month.
Wow, fantastic. I think there are lots of small, medium businesses watching this interview as well. And I guess, what I would say to them is, yes, it is the cost that does matter, because we are now getting into motion and we want to do a lot of good things, but not necessarily have all the budgets. And what happens is you get into someone who will cost you less, but not necessarily deliver what you want. You want some world-class service. You want to know how the big brands are being built. And then you probably want, somebody like Sean here, who's actually helped big brands and now, available to, small and medium businesses as well. So I think, this will be something really useful for lots of our audience who are watching right now. Okay. So moving on from there, Sean, can you just tell us your backstory and how you got into this?
Yeah, I mean, my backstory, I moved over from Ireland 25 years ago. I've always had ideas or plans, I suppose dreams to work with websites. I've always wanted to work in the online market. I didn't really know at that point what it was. I thought it was going to be more web development. And I saw a job advertised for SEO. And I'll be the first to admit it, I didn't know what SEO was. I even asked a friend, I said, what is SEO? And I, that was my first tentative steps into digital marketing. Worked in one of the UK's largest agencies, become their senior SEO and senior PPC at the end of it. So it's my story prior to that was a bit more unconventional. I worked in jewelry for 10 years, so you wouldn't necessarily make that step from jewelry to digital marketing, but it's actually worked out quite well because most of my clients are e-commerce now. Most of the websites I've worked on are e-commerce, and you need to have that sort of sales background and understanding of how a customer interacts in your shop, how they interact on your website as well. So in a way, it's kind of worked out quite good in the end.
Brilliant, brilliant. And what made you think to move out of a very stable, a very good job, and build an agency or your own business?
It was more getting frustrated by seeing clients come on board where they'd been with other agencies and had a bad experience, and it was generally the same pattern throughout. People were getting overcharged, under-delivered in terms of their service, and I knew I could provide results for my clients as well. So I thought now's the best time to take that leap of faith, use those 10 plus years experience that I've got working with multiple websites and actually apply this for my own business. And thankfully it's worked out really well. It's exactly as I expected, getting good results for clients. They're staying on board, which is more important as well. And we've got some big plans for the future.
Wow, fantastic. All right, so I think lots of people want to learn SEO, right? I think social media is something that people are getting into by default, but SEO is something people think, well, I don't really know what I need to do. So could you just share a few words on actually making people understand what SEO is and what is it that they need to focus?
SEO, it's like everything out there. You'll hear pros and you'll hear cons about it, but essentially if you have a website or you have an online presence and you want to be found for that, whether it's a service-based industry or it's an e-commerce shop, somebody needs to search for it and somebody needs to appear in those top 10 results. And the only way you'll do that is by having good SEO in place. And essentially that involves adding keywords which people search for. So if it was a man and van service, making sure that your website is optimized for that. And then when somebody is searching for it, you're going to be hopefully one of the first ones that people find. A lot of people seem to think that they can just kind of have a website and that's it. Google will automatically rank them. But unless you tell Google what it is you do and you tell your users, more importantly, what it is you do, you're never going to get anywhere. You'll be further back down the rankings.
Right. Yeah. And I guess, even those who do SEO and put keywords, I think where it comes more handy, or should I say, it's more important to have the right kind of keywords, because and I guess that's where your experience comes into picture, is somebody's thinking, well, London School of Digital Business, so should we be ranking for training courses and these kind of keywords? Or, somebody might be thinking, well, actually, is that all? Or do you do something different? Do you want to rank for a keyword that is, something that we haven't thought about?
This is it. And that's where it then goes into the research side of it. A good SEO person, a good SEO company will spend quite a bit of time researching your business, your niche or your industry that you're in, to get an understanding of what your website's ranking for and all the other different types of phrases that you can potentially rank for. And then they will recommend the best way to apply those to your website. It could be optimizing a particular page, or it could be creating a new section on your website. But there'll be that dialogue back and forth between you and the client to get the best results, because as much as the client wants results, we as SEOs want the results too, because it means that you're more likely to stay on board, and you'll be able to build up that relationship more as well.
Lots of these SEO providers these days, they claim that, that give us X months, say 3 months, and we'll get you on the first page of Google. Is that really, is it a sales thing, or is that something that someone can really deliver?
The honest answer is no. Nobody can guarantee rankings just because Google's a third party. We've no influence direct with Google. We can't speak to Google and say, right, we want this website to be ranking. You can do, as an SEO, you can do everything possible to make sure that everything's in place for Google to rank that website in the best possible position. But ultimately, it's Google that decides where you rank for any given phrase. So yeah, a lot of it's sales pattern just to get people on board. And in a way, they're kind of right. It can take around 3 months before you start seeing improvements. And the only reason for that is because Google visits your website once every 4 or 6 weeks. So by 3 months, they'll have visited your website at least 3 or 4 times, and it's built up that history. So by that point, you would expect to start seeing rankings. But if they guarantee it, if anybody guarantees rankings, just cut the call short or delete their email.
Right. And we talk too much about Google. Do you think that an SEO person should focus, or should also focus on some of the other search engines, or you think, well, just Google is enough?
It's strange enough, it's a question I've been asked recently by a client. They were asking about Bing. Obviously, Bing gets bundled in with Microsoft products, yeah. And it's something which you do consider, but the majority of the market share, 80+% of all searches, go through Google. So I'd never recommend making changes to appear higher in Baidu or Bing or Yahoo or any of those at the detriment of your Google rankings, because ultimately a vast majority of your traffic will come from Google itself. It's strange, it's got a monopoly on the search industry. If anybody can come up with another search engine out there, that would be great. One that will beat Google, but for now, I would always recommend Google's your priority, and then maybe any changes that you do make, they will get picked up by Bing and Yahoo and the other search engines, but I wouldn't concentrate on those at the detriment of Google.
Right. Okay. But will it not be easier if it is less traffic on the other ones? Will it not be slightly easier to get higher ranks on those search engines which are not Google?
Yeah, I mean, this is going back probably about 6 or 7 years ago. Yahoo and Bing, they have different algorithms, basically what they use to rank a website from Google. Typically, what you would do in Google is what Bing will look at in terms of ranking your website. So if you make changes in Google, you will see changes in Bing accordingly, but their algorithm just slightly different.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Hi there. I just wanted to share with you all why London School of Digital Business is doing this Great People interview series. Well, for the last few years, small and medium businesses have been facing lots of challenges. Individuals have been wondering what's going to happen to their careers because of these emerging trends and technologies, artificial intelligence, VR, AR. What's going to happen? It feels as if the world is changing. And then COVID hit, and there is a lot of depression in the minds of people. So we thought we need to bring in some positivity, bring in some motivation and inspiration. And it's all good to know these stories of, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. But we wanted to talk about the extraordinary stories of the people that you get to see in the ordinary world. They are no way ordinary people. They are great people, but they are the ones you can relate to. Hence, we thought this is something that we want to bring in to increase the chances of success for many, motivate them, give them the insights. And I'm so happy to share that every leader has shared completely unique and different insights because their situations have been different. Somebody was alone, and we know that entrepreneurs are alone at the top and how it feels, and they fought their challenges. Somebody had partnership, business partners, and somebody could not survive the business partnership, so they had to rebuild themselves. Somebody thought, well, I could have done this differently if I was to go back in time. So every insight is so unique. I must thank all the people who shared their journeys, and I'm sure this will help you all succeed in life, increase the chances of your success, as well as reach there faster, and of course, achieve happiness in life. Thank you for listening. Right, so moving on to a slightly lighter part of the interview, just to have some fun. And I would like to ask, is there anything that you would like to do differently if you were to go back in time?
If I was to go back in time, I would maybe try motor racing.
Wow.
If I did,
your favorite holiday
sorry?
destination?
Pardon, sorry?
Your favorite holiday destination?
Oh, Mexico. Without a shadow of a doubt, that was a great time.
Favorite sports?
Formula One, surprisingly.
Excellent. And how about your family? You mentioned about your wife and any pets at all?
Got 5 fish. Possibly we have a hamster that, if my children grind me down, they'll get a hamster out of me as well.
Great. So finally, the most important part of the interview. Who does inspire you? Why?
I suppose my wife, in all honesty, she's always been there as a rock. You need somebody when you're setting up a business or you're doing anything. You need somebody that's there to support you, and she works incredibly hard with looking after the family and everything while I'm doing what I'm doing, and I get a lot of inspiration from her. But you need that. You need somebody in your corner fighting your battles as well, giving you that support.
Amazing. And any advice that you would like to give to our audience to excel in general in life as well as in digital space?
I would say surround yourself with the right people. That's not necessarily people that are always saying yes to whatever you want to do, but people that will give you constructive criticism and listen to that. If they've got that experience, take it on board. But surrounding yourself with the right people, it's something that I've done. I've learned a lot from them, and it's put me in good stead to where I am now.
Wow, that's amazing. So I guess with that, our audience has probably got a lot to think and probably implement as well. I'm sure they'll be watching this interview again to go through some of the nitty-gritties that you mentioned. I think it'll be great to conclude with what you want to achieve as a goal, and any plans for your destination, your purpose of life, if you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, in the short term, I want to expand the business, take on board more people, more consultants to help and improve the company itself. On a long-term basis, I mean, we've discussed it as well, as taking more of an educational route and setting up a sort of training school or a training seminar that helps business owners understand the nuances of digital marketing, and gives them the basics, and they get the fundamentals down. So that's something that I want to be working on certainly in the future, to give people a better understanding of what it is I do and how to do it.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So thank you so much for your time, Sean. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sure the audience is going to love this interview.
Fantastic. Oh, thanks very much for your time, Sachin.